There is a certain kind of man who walks into a room without demanding attention. He doesn't speak the loudest. He doesn't need to prove himself. He doesn't chase approval. And yet, people notice him. Why? Because real power isn't always visible. Sometimes, it's the ability to remain calm when everyone else is losing control, to stay silent when speaking would only make things worse, to walk away without needing the last word, and to make difficult decisions, even when emotions are telling you to choose comfort. The Stoics understood this kind of power centuries ago, and once you understand the psychology behind it, you'll realize that the most powerful man isn't the one who controls everyone around him. He's the one who has learned to control himself. The first trait of a powerful man is emotional control. A powerful man still feels anger. He still feels fear. He still experiences disappointment. The difference is, he doesn't allow every emotion to become an action. Someone insults him. He doesn't immediately react. Someone challenges him. He doesn't feel the need to prove his worth. Someone rejects him. He doesn't collapse. Why? Because he understands something most people never learn. Feeling something doesn't mean you have to obey it. Imagine a storm at sea. The waves may be violent. The wind may be unpredictable. But deep beneath the surface, the ocean remains still. That's how emotional control works. You cannot control every emotion that appears, but you can control what you do with it. And that small gap between feeling and action is where your power lives. The weaker your self-control, the easier you are to provoke. But the stronger your self-control, the harder you are to manipulate. Real strength isn't having no emotions. It's refusing to become a prisoner of them. The second trait is that he doesn't need constant validation. A man who constantly needs approval has given other people control over his confidence. One compliment makes him feel powerful. One criticism makes him question himself. One rejection can completely change his mood. That's not inner strength. That's dependence. A powerful man builds his identity from within. He can appreciate praise without needing it. He can accept criticism without being destroyed by it. And he can stand alone without feeling worthless. Think about a mountain. The weather changes around it. Rain comes, wind comes, storms arrive. But the mountain doesn't ask the storm for permission to remain standing. That's the mindset of a powerful person. Opinions change. People change. Circumstances change. But your values shouldn't change every time someone disagrees with you. When you stop living for approval, you become much harder to control. And that's when your confidence becomes real. The third trait is knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Not every argument deserves your energy. Not every accusation deserves a response. Not every person deserves an explanation. Yet many people spend their lives trying to win conversations that nobody will remember a week later. They defend themselves. They argue. They explain. They react. And afterward, they wonder why they're exhausted. A powerful man understands the value of silence. Not because he's afraid to speak, but because he knows his words have value. Imagine having a sword. You wouldn't swing it at everything that moved. You would use it only when necessary. Words should be treated the same way. Speak when your words can create something. Stay silent when speaking would only create more chaos. Sometimes, the strongest response isn't a better argument. It's no argument at all. The fourth trait is that he doesn't chase what doesn't choose him. This is one of the hardest forms of strength. Knowing when to let go. People often confuse persistence with power, but constantly chasing someone who has already made their decision isn't strength. It's attachment. A powerful man understands that his time and attention are limited. He doesn't beg for respect. He doesn't chase people who repeatedly show they don't value him. He doesn't destroy his peace trying to force an outcome. He accepts reality, even when reality hurts, because he understands one of the most important Stoic principles. You cannot control what someone else chooses. You can only control how you respond. Sometimes strength means staying. Sometimes strength means fighting for something important. And sometimes strength means walking away with your dignity intact. The fifth trait is that he takes responsibility for himself. A weak mindset asks, "Whose fault is this?" A powerful mindset asks, "What can I do about it?" That's a completely different way of living. Maybe the circumstances were unfair. Maybe someone treated you badly. Maybe you made mistakes. Maybe life gave you a situation you never asked for. You don't have to pretend those things didn't happen. But eventually, you have to decide what happens next. Responsibility gives you that power. Because the moment you accept responsibility for your response, you stop waiting for someone else to fix your life. You begin moving. You begin learning. You begin changing. And slowly, you become someone who can handle more. That's real power. Not controlling other people, but becoming capable of controlling your own direction. The psychology of a powerful man isn't complicated. He controls what he can. He accepts what he cannot. He doesn't need everyone to understand him. He doesn't need everyone to approve of him. And he doesn't waste his life proving his worth. He understands that silence can be stronger than an argument. Patience can be stronger than aggression. And self-control can be stronger than dominance. The world will constantly give you reasons to lose your composure. People will misunderstand you. Some will criticize you. Some will leave. Some will try to provoke you. But every situation gives you the same choice. React or respond. Break down or build yourself. Seek approval or stand by your values. And every time you choose the second option, you become a little more powerful. Not because you've become stronger than everyone else, but because you've become stronger than the version of yourself that once controlled you. That is the psychology of real power. Master yourself first. Everything else comes after that. If this message gave you a different perspective on what real strength looks like, subscribe for more lessons on Stoicism, discipline, emotional control, and self-mastery. And remember, the strongest person isn't always the one who has the most power. Sometimes, it's the one who needs the least approval to use it wisely.